Jimmy tried to shut him down with sarcasm and smug little laughs. Elon stayed calm, got cut off, and then responded in a way that made the entire country stop and listen. It was supposed to be a relaxed Thursday night in Los Angeles. The audience, at Jimmy Kimmel Live, had settled in, still chuckling from the opening monologue. That easy, late-night rhythm filled the room, until Elon Musk walked out. No flashy entrance. Just a dark blazer, a clean black tie, and that composed look he wears like armor. The applause was loud. Some cheers were louder than others. But underneath it all, there was tension. Elon gave a short smile, nodded at Jimmy, and sat down. First, it was smooth. Jimmy welcomed him, tossed a casual jab about SpaceX delays. Elon chuckled. But then, the mood shifted. "So, Elon," Jimmy began, flipping through his note cards with a grin that didn't quite reach his eyes. "How's it feel owning a platform where conspiracy theories and memes are the main currencies?" The audience laughed. Elon didn't. "I think people are tired of curated narratives," he said calmly. "They want truth, even if it's messy, and I'm okay with messy." Jimmy leaned forward. Sure. But you've got folks saying, wild stuff on X, doesn't it worry you giving them a megaphone?" Elon tilted his head. "I worry more about the people who think some voices shouldn't be heard." There was a pause. That was the moment. No dramatic music, no flashing lights, just a shift in the air. Jimmy blinked, trying to pivot, but instead of diffusing the tension, he pushed harder. "Come on, man," he said with mock sincerity. "You've been flirting with every political line out there. It's like you want to be everyone's savior and no one's ally." That hit a nerve, not just for Elon, but for the room. The smile faded from his face. He didn't raise his voice, didn't lash out. He just stared at Jimmy, silent, a beat longer than comfortable. "I came here to talk about technology, innovation, maybe even share a few things I've never said before," Elon said. "But if you want to talk politics, let's not pretend you're neutral." The atmosphere changed. A few claps from the audience. Some uncertain looks. Jimmy shrugged. "Hey, I'm just asking questions. And it's my job to answer them honestly," Elon replied, still calm. "But let's not call it a conversation when it's clearly an ambush," the audience murmured. Jimmy's grin faltered. For a split second, he looked genuinely thrown. "Well," he said, standing up abruptly, "if this isn't the interview you expected, you're free to go." The crew hesitated. Elon didn't. "That's the thing," he said, standing slowly. "I expected more. From you. From this platform." Security approached, not hostile, just awkward. A stage manager whispered something. Elon gave a small, tired nod and walked off the stage. The cameras cut back to Jimmy. He laughed nervously, glanced at the crowd. Well, that escalated. But it didn't feel like a joke. It felt like something cracked. Backstage, far from the lights and laughter, something else was already in motion. The moment Elon stepped behind the curtain, the air shifted. Colder, quieter. No cameras. No applause, just tension, hanging like smoke. A young production assistant tried to steer him toward the side exit. Elon didn't follow. "Where's Kimmel?" he asked. Calm. Not angry, just sharp. Probably in his dressing room," the assistant said. "You should—" "I didn't ask what I should do. I asked where he is." Staffers paused. Elon turned the corner before anyone could stop him. A security guard caught up just as Jimmy stepped out of the green room, rubbing the back of his neck, already trying to figure out how to spin what just happened. He wasn't expecting to see Elon again, not that fast. "What now?" Jimmy sighed, arms crossed. Elon stood still. "Didn't come closer. You invited me on your show, made it about your narrative, then cut me off. Just admit it." Jimmy let out a hollow laugh. "Oh, please, don't act like a victim. You've got your billions, your fans. What are you even upset about?" "It's not about me," Elon replied. It's about what you tried to turn this into. You don't want conversation. You want control. That landed hard. A nearby crew member, half hidden behind a fake ficus with his phone out, caught the moment. Not on purpose at first, just recording in case something serious happened. But it wasn't loud. It wasn't a fight. It was something heavier. Something real. It was revealing. Elon didn't just want to talk about free speech, he wanted to show what it looked like under pressure. Jimmy fired back. "You've created chaos," he said. "That's not freedom, that's just noise." "No," Elon replied, his tone firm. "Noise is when you silence one side and call it balance." For a moment, neither of them spoke. The hallway lights buzzed faintly overhead. The tension wasn't loud or explosive, but it was real. One man backed by Hollywood, the other by something harder to pin down. Elon turned to the crew nearby. "You can clip this, you can twist it, or maybe, for once, you let people hear it exactly as it happened." Then he walked away. No mic, no camera, just the sound of the exit door swinging shut behind him. But a few hours later, just past midnight, a 90-second video appeared on X. No edits. No captions, just raw footage. Elon standing in that hallway calling out the double standard, refusing to lose his cool, speaking like someone who didn't need a stage to be heard. At first it got a few thousand views. By sunrise, 5 million. By noon, it was everywhere. News outlets rushed to spin it. Elon melts down after Kimmel appearance. Uncut Elon footage sparks free speech debate. But viewers weren't fooled. They saw the original. They watched Elon stay calm, watched Jimmy squirm, saw that it wasn't about ego. It was about something deeper. Truth. Control. And the cracks in the systems were told to trust. And the real storm hadn't even started. Because what happened next, what the public did with that clip, caught everyone off guard. By the time coffee shops opened in Portland and gas stations lit up across Ohio, the clip had already gone viral. Elon's quiet takedown, captured on a shaky backstage phone, had reached farther in 6 hours than any polished broadcast ever could, and people weren't just watching. They were responding. On X, hashtags lit up. Stand, with Elon, rose fast. But it wasn't just tech bros and Tesla fans. Teachers, veterans, scientists, small-town mayors, all quoting the same line. "You don't want conversation, you want control." That one sentence became a kind of anthem overnight. Not everyone agreed, of course. The internet never moves in one direction. Kimmel was right, and Dark Musk meltdown trended too. Some accused Elon of spinning the narrative. Others dismissed him as just another billionaire crying over criticism. But this felt different. This wasn't a press stunt. There were no press releases, no PR spin. Elon didn't tweet for 12 hours. And in that silence, the public filled the gap. Clips from the broadcast, the backstage video, personal reactions. They started flooding every feed. TikToks broke it down frame by frame. Reddit threads dissected Jimmy's expressions. Instagram stories posted side-by-sides of the polished segment versus what really happened. And then came the voices with weight. Dr. Leonora Hastings, a respected professor of media ethics from the University of Michigan, posted a thread calling Kimmel's ambush a calculated misuse of influence, warning that if late-night hosts turn into political executioners, we lose the point of public discourse. Comedian Daryl Nye tweeted, "I've clowned on Musk before, but man, Kimmel tried to make him a punchline and got flattened by facts." Meanwhile, Jimmy stayed quiet. No tweets, no statement. Just silence. ABC released a vague PR note saying the segment ended early due to time constraints. Nobody believed it. Even TMZ called it the worst cover-up since a celebrity birthday fight. Then came a new wave. People who'd felt silenced for years. Independent journalists, small creators, scientists whose findings didn't fit the mainstream, started reposting Elon's clip, adding their own voices. And suddenly, the question wasn't, "Do you agree with Elon Musk?" It was, what does it say about us if this kind of conversation isn't allowed to happen? What started as a tense exchange became something bigger, a crack in the carefully managed flow of media, a glimpse at the filters behind the curtain. The conversation had shifted. People were tired of being managed, of having gatekeepers, decide who gets to speak and who doesn't. Then, finally, Elon broke his silence. One post. No caption, just a screenshot from the video. The moment he said, "Let people hear it as it happened," it hit 35 million views in under 2 hours. But the story didn't end there. While the internet argued and media outlets scrambled to spin their angles, Elon was already steps ahead, quietly planning something bigger, something that would make the backstage clip look like a trailer, not the feature. Before he went live, he made one call, to someone no one expected, and it changed everything. 2 days after the clip shook the internet, a subtle alert appeared on X. Elon Musk is live. No teaser, no promo. Just a black screen, flickering, then slowly coming into focus. Elon sat alone in a plain chair. No logos, no spotlight. Just a bookshelf behind him and a single desk lamp casting soft light across his face. He looked rested, serious. No makeup, no pre-written script. And yet, in the first 5 minutes, over 900,000 people joined the stream. "All right," he began. "I didn't want to go back and forth on morning talk shows or post endless tweet threads. I figured I'd just talk to people directly. That used to be normal." He paused, then said quietly, "I don't care that Jimmy didn't like my answers. I care that he never wanted them in the first place." A flood of comments rolled in, but Elon didn't watch them. This wasn't a performance, it was something else. Something rare, a public figure who wasn't playing a part. Then came the surprise. Elon introduced his guests. One by one. Not celebrities, not influencers. These were people the mainstream had pushed to the margins. Jenna Aoki, a former science journalist blacklisted for reporting on lab leak theories. Christopher Darnell, a software developer who lost contracts after refusing to install keyword filters in his AI. Dr. Lionel Rivera, a former policy advisor who warned about digital censorship years before it became a buzzword. Each shared a story, not rants, not speeches, just quiet, personal accounts of what it felt like to be shut out. Not for hate, not for chaos, but for asking questions. Elon leaned back, listening. He didn't interrupt, didn't steer the narrative. He let it breathe. "Free speech," he said eventually, "doesn't mean freedom from consequences. I get that. But lately, consequences look a lot like erasure." He wasn't trying to sound poetic, just honest. All across the country, people tuned in. On phones, laptops, TVs, truck drivers in Nevada, nurses on break in Nebraska, students in dorms in Boise. Not all of them agreed, but they listened. Then something unexpected happened. Halfway through the stream, Elon shifted the focus. Why? Do we accept that the only way to reach the public is through late-night hosts or cable anchors? Why are we still asking for permission to be heard? The comment section exploded. Viewers began sharing their own stories. Small ones, quiet ones. Times they'd been muted, mocked, or misunderstood. The chat turned into a living wall of suppressed experience. Then, without warning, the screen split. In the corner appeared a face many recognized, though not from a mainstream network. Aria Salter, an independent journalist from Tulsa, who'd been slowly building a loyal audience. "Elon," she said, "I've been watching. I think this isn't just a moment, it's a shift. If people can speak without filters, what does that mean for platforms like mine? Or yours?" He looked at her, then directly at the camera. "It means they'll try to shut it down," he said. "But it also means we build something new." By the time the stream ended, nearly 2 hours later, over 23 million people had watched some part of it. No ads, no editing, just people talking. But the consequences wouldn't stay online. Hollywood was watching. And it was about to push back, fast. The next morning, the entertainment world moved like a hive that had just been kicked. Inside studio towers from Burbank to Culver City, meetings were called. Emails flew. Quiet panic buzzed across phone lines. It wasn't just that Elon had gone off script. It was that millions had tuned in and stayed. And if there's one thing Hollywood doesn't like, it's losing control. The same talking points echoed across networks. Scripted outrage, coordinated spin. The synchronization was impossible to ignore, but the damage control wasn't working. In Santa Clara, a freelance producer leaked screenshots, internal ABC emails, debating whether to pull every Elon-related clip from their platforms. Not just the Kimmel interview, everything. It looked less like strategy and more like an attempted erasure. People noticed. Then came the sponsors. 3 major advertisers quietly pulled out of Jimmy Kimmel Live. Within 48 hours, one, a legacy insurance company based in Des Moines, issued a simple public statement. We support dialogue, not censorship. The following evening, Kimmel broke his silence. He opened the show with forced laughter and a new round of jokes aimed at Elon. So apparently free speech now means billionaires yell at you for not liking their tweets. He smirked at the camera. But the laugh track didn't land, not like it used to. Online, the monologue clips were met with a wave of comments, not laughs, but questions. Where's the joke? One viewer wrote. This isn't comedy, it's cleanup. Meanwhile, Elon said nothing, no tweets, no interviews, but others stepped forward. Arya Salter, the independent journalist from the livestream, saw her following triple in 4 days. She wasn't invited to late-night couches or cable panels. She was invited by people, podcasts, live streams, unfiltered conversations, and she wasn't alone. Dozens of independent voices found sudden momentum. Once ignored accounts were now signal boosted by thousands. Platforms like Rumble and Local saw a surge in signups, driven by people tired of running their thoughts through 6 filters and a legal department before speaking. Back in Los Angeles, insiders began leaking to media blogs. One veteran writer's assistant from a popular streaming series said, "It's not about liking Elon. It's about the fact that someone finally said it out loud, that everything behind the scenes is this, controlled. If he can get shut down mid-interview, what chance do the rest of us have?" The quote went viral, but the real shock came from a former ABC executive, someone who'd worked directly with Kimmel's team for years. She posted a scathing LinkedIn thread, pulling back the curtain. Producers are encouraged to gently steer interviews away from certain views. It's not censorship in the traditional sense, she wrote. It's a script, and if you don't stick to it, you disappear. Within hours, her post was picked up by The Hill, TechCrunch, and The Daily Caller. The facade was cracking. Hollywood could take a joke, but it couldn't take the mirror Elon had just held up. And try as they might, they couldn't stop the millions now asking how long they'd been watching a reality edited to keep them comfortable. While Hollywood scrambled to spin, Elon was building something new. Something no one, not even his loudest critics, saw coming. 5 days after the stream, he reappeared, not in front of a camera, behind a whiteboard, in a conference room in Austin. No fanfare, no countdown, just a tweet. If the old platforms don't want real dialogue, we'll build our own. At first, people assumed he was being metaphorical, but within hours, rumors leaked from inside Tesla and X offices. Elon had assembled a quiet task force, software engineers, media specialists, former journalists, people sick of gatekeeping and ready to build something different. By day 7, it had a name, OpenFrame, not a platform, a framework, a modular set of tools built to let creators, journalists, and everyday users broadcast real conversations without interference, no shadow bans, no selective algorithm boosts, no steering, just raw chronological reach. You speak, people hear you, or they don't. Simple. Skeptics rolled their eyes. Another app, they scoffed. This'll fizzle like Truth Social or Parler. But they underestimated the moment. This wasn't left versus right, Or tech versus media. It had become something bigger, people versus filters, authenticity versus orchestration, and Elon? He didn't market it, he didn't sell it, he just let it grow. On launch day, Arya Salter went live first. No script, no glam, just her phone. And a story. She spoke about being told years earlier to remove emotion from her reporting because it made readers uncomfortable. Within minutes, over 600,000 people were watching. Then came Dr. Rivera, the policy advisor, live. Q&A on censorship, speech, and the slow death of public discourse. And this time, no one could cut the feed. Then came Christopher Darnell. He went live for 2 unfiltered hours. No script, no edits. Walking viewers through how companies had quietly pressured AI developers to steer clear of unpopular conclusions, even if they were true. Each case was different. But there was one common thread. Nothing was cut. Nothing was dressed up. It was messy. And it was real. Meanwhile, Jimmy Kimmel Live was tanking. The show hit its lowest ratings in over 8 years. Advertisers got jittery. Segments felt thinner. The rhythm was off. The laughter, hollow. The machine had taken a hit. But Elon wasn't gloating. He never mentioned Kimmel again. Not once. That silence said more than any monologue could. Instead, he posted a single sentence to X, pinned it to the top of his profile. You can silence the mic, but not the message. It caught fire. Artists turned it into posters. High schoolers printed it on t-shirts. College debate teams opened meetings with it. Some saw Elon as a symbol. Others called him a chaos agent building power through disruption. But regardless of where people stood, they were watching again, listening again, talking again. In Nashville, a retired librarian launched a weekly stream on OpenFrame, reading banned books aloud explaining why they mattered. In Fresno, a former union rep hosted raw conversations with workers who felt abandoned by both parties. In Springfield, Missouri, a single dad went live just to talk about mental health, with strangers who needed it. This wasn't viral hype anymore, it was traction. For the first time in years, people weren't being told what to think. They were thinking out loud, together, in public, and in that noisy, awkward, beautiful mess of voices. Something honest started to take shape. A week passed, then another. Kimmel went on a planned hiatus. But insiders whispered, the vibe had changed, the tension was palpable. Writers grumbled, executives pushed for fluffier segments. But the public had tuned out. They weren't watching late night anymore. They were watching something else rise. OpenFrame crossed 10 million users in under 3 weeks, not just in the US, Germany, Brazil, South Africa, South Korea, real-time conversations, native languages, no middlemen. It didn't promise truth. Didn't claim to fix the world. It just handed back the mic. And somehow, that was enough. Elon still hadn't given another interview. No press tour. No book launch. Just silence. And the occasional post reminding people to think for themselves. Then, without warning, he went live again. No promo, no countdown, same bookshelf, same black tea. The room was quiet, except for the soft hum of traffic outside. I'm not here to be right, he said. I'm here because I'm tired of people pretending they know what's best for everyone else. Tired of shows that say they want honesty, but can't handle a real answer. And tired of pretending speech is free when it only flows one way. Paused. Leaned in slightly. I'm not a hero. I'm not perfect. But I'm not afraid to speak. He stared straight into the lens. You shouldn't be either. No outro, no applause, just a clean cut to black. That was the clip that stuck. Not the fight on Kimmel, not the chaos of the live stream, not even OpenFrame's explosive rise. That, one man refusing to beg for permission to speak, spread faster than any trending hashtag. It played in classrooms, churches, barbershops, family group chats. Not because Elon was flawless, but because he was flawed and still stood. The lesson landed differently for everyone. For some, it was a reminder. Ask questions, even if the answers make people uncomfortable. For others, it was about courage. The kind you need to walk out, even if you're walking alone. But for most, it was this. When someone tries to silence you, speak louder, not with hate, not with rage, but with truth. Even if your voice shakes. We live in a time when the loudest voices often say the least, where performance is rewarded and quiet thoughtfulness gets buried. But this moment, what happened with Elon, with Jimmy, with millions of us watching, it peeled something back. It reminded us that real conversation isn't safe. It's awkward, it's raw, it's unpredictable, but it's also the only thing that moves us forward. And maybe, just maybe, the best way to fix the world is to talk like we're allowed to fix it. If this story made you feel something, if it made you think even for a second, hit that subscribe button, stick around, there's more coming. Because the mic's not off, not here, not anymore.